Every night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., the clock stops. The fog comes out of nowhere. The road disappears, and you realize you are completely alone. The security camera caught me talking to someone who was never there. 2 workers vanished from this exact spot. No struggle, no goodbye, just gone. And then I heard my own voice calling for help from outside in the fog. I took the night shift at Miller's Gas and Go because nobody else wanted it. The station sat along a quiet stretch of highway, just outside a small Texas town called Dry Creek. After midnight, traffic disappeared. The road went silent, and the whole world started to feel abandoned. The pay was slightly better for overnight work, and at the time, I needed every extra dollar I could get. Bills were piling up. My car barely worked. And honestly, sleep didn't matter as much as survival. Most nights were painfully boring. Truckers stopped by around midnight. Locals grabbed cigarettes before heading home. But after 2 in the morning, everything died. No cars, no voices, just humming fluorescent lights and miles of empty highway outside. I'd restock shelves, wipe counters, and watch the security monitors while drinking terrible gas station coffee, just trying to stay awake. My first week felt completely normal, until Thursday night. It was exactly 3:17 a.m. when I noticed him. The automatic door chime rang, loud enough to echo through the empty store. I remember checking the clock immediately. 3:17. The timing felt strange. Outside, the highway was completely empty. No headlights, no engines. Yet somehow, a customer had walked in. The man moved slowly toward the drink coolers. He wore a dark jacket, even though Texas nights were still warm. A faded baseball cap covered most of his face, low enough that I couldn't clearly see his eyes. Something about the way he walked bothered me instantly. Not aggressive, not threatening, just quiet. Too quiet. He grabbed a bottle of water and walked to the counter. $3, I said. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he placed exact change on the counter. The bills were perfectly flat, like they had just come from a bank envelope. Under the fluorescent lights, his hands looked unusually pale. When I reached for the money, I noticed something strange. The front doors behind him were completely closed. Lock position. I blinked, confused, because I never heard them open again. The man picked up the water and walked out. The chime rang once more. But when I looked outside through the glass, there was nothing. No car, no footsteps, no movement anywhere on the highway. I convinced myself he must have parked outside the camera angle. Night shifts mess with your head sometimes, so I ignored it until the next night. At 3:17 a.m., the chime rang again. Same man, same jacket, same bottle of water, same exact payment. This time, I watched carefully. I kept my eyes locked on the doors. But for 1 second, just 1 second, I glanced down at the register. And when I looked back, he was already inside the store, like I had missed the moment completely. "You working late?" I asked casually. He nodded once. No smile, no conversation, just silence. After he left, I checked the security footage, and that's when everything stopped making sense. The camera showed me standing behind the counter, exactly when the chime rang, but the doors never opened. No customer appeared. For nearly 40 seconds, the footage showed me talking to empty air, taking money from nothing, watching someone leave who wasn't visible on camera at all. I replayed it 5 times, then turned the monitor off. I didn't sleep that morning. The third night was worse. Around 3 o'clock, a thick fog rolled over the highway. Locals later told me fog almost never happens there. Visibility dropped fast, unnaturally fast. The parking lot lights barely reached the pumps. Then, 3:17 a.m., the chime rang again. My stomach dropped before I even looked up. He was already inside, standing near the entrance, watching me, not moving, not browsing, just waiting. "You come here every night?" I said. His head tilted slightly, like the question confused him. "Yes," he said quietly. His voice sounded distant, tired. I forced a nervous laugh. "You live nearby?" He paused, then answered, "I used to." The air suddenly felt colder. After he left, I ran outside immediately. The parking lot was empty, but near pump 3, I saw something that made my chest tighten. Wet footprints on dry concrete. They led away from the pump and then suddenly stopped, halfway to the road, as if whoever made them had simply vanished. The next morning, I told my manager, Rick. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he walked into the back office and pulled out an old employee folder. "You're not the first night worker to say this," he told me. "A guy named Aaron worked my shift before me. Reliable employee. Never late. One night, around 3 in the morning, he called Rick saying someone strange kept coming into the store. That same night, Aaron disappeared. Police searched everything. His car was still outside. His wallet still inside. Security footage showed him talking to someone at 3:17 a.m. But no one else appeared on camera. Rick looked directly at me and said something I will never forget. If that customer comes back, don't talk to him longer than you have to. That night, I almost quit, but curiosity kept me there. And deep down, I already knew I would see him again because the clock was slowly moving closer to 3:17 a.m. After Rick told me about Aaron disappearing, the gas station didn't feel the same anymore. Before that conversation, Miller's Gas and Go was just another boring overnight job. Fluorescent lights, stale coffee, long empty hours waiting for sunrise. But once you hear that someone vanished during the exact shift you're working, every sound starts meaning something. I kept telling myself it was coincidence. People quit jobs all the time. Maybe Aaron ran off. Maybe the cameras malfunctioned. Small towns love turning normal events into ghost stories. That explanation worked. Until my next shift. The night started quietly. A few trucks passed before midnight. Around 1 in the morning, a local deputy stopped in for coffee. After he left, the highway died completely. No engines, no headlights, just wind pushing dust across the parking lot. Then around 2:45 a.m. something changed. The store suddenly felt heavier. I don't really know how to explain it. The air pressure shifted like the moment before a storm. Even though the sky outside was perfectly clear, the refrigerator hum sounded deeper, slower, almost distorted. Without realizing it, I kept looking at the clock. 2:58, 3:06, 3:12. My chest tightened as the numbers moved closer. By 3:15, fog rolled across the highway again. Thick fog, unnatural fog. It swallowed the road within seconds. I walked toward the window just to make sure I wasn't imagining things. Outside looked erased. Then the lights flickered once. The digital clock blinked. 3:17 a.m. The door chime rang. I looked up immediately. He was already inside. I knew for certain this time. I hadn't looked away long enough for anyone to enter. One moment the entrance was empty. The next, he stood there, perfectly still beneath the buzzing lights. He looked the same as before. Same jacket, same cap, but something felt different. His clothes looked damp, like he had walked through rain that didn't exist. Small dark spots covered his shoulders. He moved slowly toward the drink cooler. No footsteps echoed, no sound at all, except the cooler door opening. Then suddenly, every refrigerator in the store shut off. At once, the humming noise disappeared completely. The silence became so deep, it almost hurt my ears. A second later, the power returned. I swallowed and forced myself to speak. "You come through here every night." He looked at me longer than before. "Yes." His voice sounded clearer now, almost relieved. When he reached the counter, he didn't place the money down right away. Instead, he studied my face carefully. "You stayed," he said. I frowned. "I work here." He nodded slowly. "They usually leave sooner." A cold feeling spread through my stomach. I tried to laugh. "Who leaves?" Before he answered, every security monitor behind me shut off. All screens went black. At the same time, the lights dimmed slightly. For a moment, the only light came from the glowing coolers behind him. His shadow stretched across the floor, longer than it should have been. I turned to check the monitors. When I looked back, he was gone. No door chime, no footsteps, nothing. My heart started pounding. I stepped around the counter, checking every aisle. Empty, silent. Then I heard footsteps. Behind the store, near the employee hallway. Nobody ever went back there. I grabbed the flashlight under the register. Slowly, I walked toward the hallway. "Sir," I called. "You can't be back there." The hallway light flickered weakly. Halfway down, I saw him, standing near the employee exit door, facing the wall, completely still. The emergency alarm light blinked yellow above him, even though the door was locked. I stopped several feet away. "How did you get back here?" He spoke without turning. "This is where he left." My stomach dropped instantly. "Aaron, the worker?" I asked quietly. The man slowly turned his head. "Yes." Barely a whisper. He followed the knocking. A chill ran up my spine. What knocking? Right then, a faint metallic tapping came from outside the door. Tap. Pause. Tap. Like fingers touching metal. The man stared at the door. "They wait out there," he said softly. I stepped backward. "Who waits?" Instead of answering, he asked something strange. "Do you remember walking outside yet?" My mouth went dry. "No," he nodded slowly. "That's good." Suddenly, every light flickered violently. The monitors powered back on behind me with loud static. I rushed toward the counter. All cameras were running again, except the entrance camera. Its timestamp blinked repeatedly. Frozen. 3:17 a.m. The footage showed me standing alone, talking, gesturing, answering someone invisible. But no customer appeared on screen. Behind me, his voice spoke again. "They never record us." I turned, and he was suddenly much closer. Only a few feet away, closer than he could have moved without sound. His eyes looked tired, desperate. "When the minute changes," he whispered, "don't follow anyone outside." Then the timestamp jumped forward. 3:18 a.m. The lights returned. The refrigerators hummed again. The hallway alarm stopped blinking. And the man was gone. Completely gone. Later that morning, Rick reviewed the footage with me. Exactly 60 seconds were missing. From every camera, 1 full minute erased. Before shutting the system down, Rick paused the final frame. Reflected faintly in the glass entrance door stood 2 figures at the counter. Me, and someone facing me. Someone the cameras could never see. Rick unplugged the monitor immediately, then said quietly, "If he starts talking more, it means the minute is getting closer." Driving home that morning, one thought wouldn't leave my mind. The man never threatened me. He never asked for help. He only warned me. And somehow, that scared me more than anything else. The man who worked the shift before me after the night the cameras went dark, sleep stopped feeling normal. Even when I was home during the day, my brain refused to shut off. Every small sound woke me up, and no matter how hard I tried, I kept replaying the security footage in my head. Me, standing behind the counter, talking, responding, holding conversations with someone who technically wasn't there. I told myself I was finished after that week. One more paycheck, then I was quitting. But fear does something strange to people. Curiosity grows right beside it. And before my final shift even started, I learned something that made everything worse. When I arrived that evening, Rick was already waiting outside the station. Managers never showed up during overnight change. But he looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept either. He handed me the keys slowly, then said, "I didn't tell you everything about Aaron." My stomach tightened immediately. "There was someone before him," Rick continued. "Another overnight worker." I stared at him. "You mean this has happened before?" Rick nodded quietly. His name was Daniel Brooks. He worked nights for almost 3 years. Quiet guy, reliable, never caused problems. Rick paused before finishing, until he started reporting customers nobody else could see. A cold feeling settled in my chest. Rick explained that Daniel kept filing incident reports. Same story every time. A man entering the store at the exact same time every night. Management assumed stress was getting to him. Overnight isolation does that sometimes. Hours alone, silence. Your mind starts filling gaps. But Daniel became obsessed with one thing. The time. 3:17 a.m. He started calling Rick during shifts, saying something was wrong with the doors, that someone kept entering without triggering the sensors properly. Then one night, Daniel said the man tried to get him to step outside.
That was Daniel's last shift. Morning employees arrived to find everything running normally. Lights on, coffee brewing, store open. But Daniel was gone. No struggle, no exit footage. Just 1 missing minute from every camera. Exactly like Aaron. Before leaving, Rick looked toward the empty highway, then gave me a warning. "If you hear knocking, ignore it." Then he
Drove away, and suddenly, I was alone again. The first few hours of that shift felt unbearable. Every reflection in the glass doors made me jump. I checked the locks repeatedly, even though I knew they were secure. Customers came and went before midnight. But after 1 in the morning, the town shut down completely. By 2:30 a.m. the highway was empty. Darkness stretched endlessly past the pumps. Then around 2:50, the landline phone rang. The sound nearly made me jump out of my skin. Nobody called that late. I picked up slowly. Miller's Gas and Go. At first, only static answered. Then breathing. Slow, uneven breathing. Right against the receiver. "Hello?" I asked again. A weak voice finally spoke. You shouldn't still be there. Every muscle in my body tightened. Who is this? The voice sounded exhausted. Broken. I work nights too. My heart started racing. Daniel. Silence followed, long enough to make my hands shake. Then a whisper came through the line. He asked me to come outside. Cold spread through my chest. What happened? I asked quickly. Static exploded through the phone. I thought someone needed help. I thought. The call cut off instantly. At the exact same moment, the lights flickered. The clock changed. 3:17 a.m. The door chime rang. I didn't look right away, because I already knew. He was there, standing near the entrance again. But this time, he wasn't pretending to shop. He simply watched me, almost patiently, like we both understood something now. Outside, fog swallowed the parking lot faster than ever before. The fuel pumps disappeared into glowing shadows. He walked toward the counter slowly. You talked to him, the man said. My throat felt tight. Daniel called me. The man nodded slightly. He tries sometimes. I stared at him. What are you? Instead of answering, he looked toward the highway. They're early tonight. A metallic tapping echoed outside. Pump 3, then pump 2. Tap, pause, tap. Shapes moved inside the fog. Human-sized silhouettes, standing completely still near the pumps. My breathing became shallow. Who's out there? The man finally looked directly into my eyes. The ones who wait for replacements. My stomach dropped. Replacements for what? He studied me carefully. For the shift. Another knock touched the glass door. Not aggressive, just patient, like someone waiting their turn. I stepped backward. Aaron followed them, didn't he? Yes. And Daniel? A longer pause this time. Yes. More shapes appeared outside now, surrounding the station quietly. None of them rushed. None tried forcing entry. They only waited. The man leaned closer, lowering his voice. They only come during the missing minute. My hands trembled. What happens if someone goes outside? His answer came softly. The minute keeps them. I looked at the clock. Still frozen. 3:17 a.m. Not moving. Time itself felt trapped. Then the man asked something that terrified me. Do you hear them calling yet? At first, I didn't understand. Then I heard it. A voice outside. Faint through the fog. Someone shouting for help. Desperate. Panicked. And horrifyingly familiar. It was my voice. Calling from outside the store. I turned toward the doors instinctively. Heart racing. The man spoke quickly. Don't look too long. That's how they convince you. The voice called again. Closer now. Begging. For one terrifying second, I almost walked toward the door. Almost. The man slowly shook his head. You're stronger than the others. The clock flickered again. Still locked at 3:17 a.m. And that's when I realized something horrifying. The minute hadn't ended yet, which meant the worst part was still coming. 3:17 a.m. The shift that never ends. By the time the voice outside the gas station started calling my name, I already knew something was wrong. Not the kind of wrong caused by exhaustion. Myself to stop. Across the counter, the man watched quietly. He wasn't surprised. He wasn't afraid. That's not you, he said calmly.
My throat felt dry. That is my voice. He nodded slowly. They learned fast. Outside.
Who are they? I whispered. He shook his head slowly. I stopped trying to name them. A loud knock hit the entrance window. The handle shifted slightly. Not forced, just testing. They weren't breaking in. They were waiting for permission. The man suddenly looked tired, older somehow. I worked this shift once, he said quietly. I turned toward him. Years ago. He nodded. Different building. Same ground. Long before cameras, before electronic locks. He heard knocking during heavy fog. He stepped outside, thinking someone needed help. The moment he entered the mist, sound disappeared. No wind. No road. Nothing. Shapes surrounded him. Then reality snapped back. But time never worked normally again. Every night, at 3:17 a.m. he returned. I come back during the minute, he said softly, trying to stop someone else from replacing me. Understanding hit me slowly. You're trapped. Yes. Suddenly, the employee hallway alarm beeped. We both turned. The emergency exit light blinked yellow. Unlocked. I knew I had locked it earlier. Footsteps echoed down the hallway. Slow. Dragging. Getting closer. Real fear settled deep in my chest. Whatever waited outside was now inside. From the darkness came a whisper. Come outside. Again my voice. I gripped the counter tightly. The man walked toward the hallway. If nobody replaces me, he said quietly, the minute weakens. You can't go out there, I said. He gave a small tired smile. I never really left. He opened the employee exit door. Cold silence poured inside. Beyond the doorway wasn't night, just darkness without depth. He stepped forward and vanished. Gone instantly, like reality skipped a frame. At that exact moment, the front doors slammed violently.
Fog surged forward, but stopped at the threshold. The clock flickered violently, then finally changed. 3:18 a.m. Sound rushed back. Refrigerators roared alive. Highway noise returned. The fog disappeared.
The parking lot was empty again. Normal. Completely normal. Too normal. Later that morning, Rick checked the cameras. Exactly 60 seconds were missing. Again. But in the final frame before the blackout, one figure walked calmly down the hallway and exited alone. I quit that morning. Left Dry Creek immediately. For months, nothing strange happened. Until one night, at another gas station in another state. As I filled my tank, the pump screen flickered. For less than a second, the time read 3:17 a.m. Even though my phone showed something different, a cold feeling spread through my chest. I looked toward the store windows. Inside, a tired night worker stood behind the counter. And near the entrance, a familiar man picked up a bottle of water. Dark jacket, baseball cap, slow movement. He turned slightly. Our eyes met. Recognition passed between us. Like he knew. I finally understood. Somewhere, every night, someone works alone while the world sleeps. And somewhere during that silent hour, time pauses. The fog returns, and 3:17 a.m. waits patiently for the next person to open the door.